Buenas and wholeness, everyone. This is a follow-up to the last video that I made, which was the physical steps that you can engage in to break the addiction or habit that you have of watching pornography. This is going to be the mental aspects, how you can tackle it from the mental level, which used to be my favorite level of doing things until I started learning about the spiritual tip. But the mental one is still very important. I mean, they're all equally important. The mental one is an odd one because it's kind of like the liaison between the two. So some of what we're going to talk about today is going to mesh in with the physical stuff, and it's definitely going to mesh in with the spiritual stuff. You can kind of think of things coalescing down from the spiritual realm, where like the spirit stuff's vapor, the mental's the liquid, and then the physical is that solid. It's all the same, it's just different it's in different states. So mentally, this is where a lot of things kind of start. Pornography, it fills a role, it fills a need. Sometimes that need is to feel a rush. You know, it's not a romantic thing by any means. There's no romance in it, but there's a need to feel a rush, and it allows you to play a fantasy. And that was a big thing for me, was that I could get into these fantasies, and it helps when you have something to watch, or some material, some source material to go off of. So yeah, this one, it took me a long time to figure out how I was going to talk about the mental aspect, just because, like I said, there were so many things that could be physical, it could be spiritual. What is specifically mental? And one of the first things that came to mind was dopamine. You're in stopping looking at pornography, you are severing your source of dopamine. For many of us, it's our main source. Okay, for me, the two biggest things was pornography, video games. Those were the ways that I got my high of dopamine. And it's not the same as when you're playing like a physical game, or if you are, you know, doing trivia or something where it kind of like, boom, it goes up and it spikes and it goes up. When you're looking at pornography, your dopamine levels, let's say they're usually at 20, okay? Let's say they're usually at 50. When you're looking at pornography, it will shoot up to like 90 and just hover there and hover there and hover. It's called edging. When you're edging, you're just continuously looking at it. You're not allowing yourself to come. You're hovering at a level that is not, it's not normal to be up that high all the time. It usually goes up and down, it spikes. So what happens when you do that for a long period of time, when you come off of it, instead of going back down to your equilibrium, which is 50, you're gonna plummet and go back down lower. It might go down to 30, okay? So again, normally you're at 50. You engage in an activity that increases dopamine, it might shoot you up to like 80 or 90 or so, but then typically it goes back down to 50 because it's not up at 80 or 90 that high. With pornography, because you're doing this for like, you know, 1 to 2 hours or so, when it goes back down, it sinks down lower than what it's supposed to. So one of the biggest things that I learned is that you have to replace that source of dopamine. You have to find something else that will help to balance you out. Otherwise, you really are going to be depressed, and it's in all senses of the words, it is a depression. You're in a depression. You're in a hole, and you have to slowly get yourself out of it. And you don't have to do it that, you know, you don't need to go through that. There's certain things that you can take on the herbal route that can help with that. Adaptogens can help, and these basically kind of help you to adapt. I don't know that much about it. My girl knows more about it, but she told me a little bit of it. It helps bring things into equilibrium. Again, you have created a certain chemistry and a structure in your brain through the prolonged use of pornography, and it's created certain pathways to your dopamine, to your serotonin, to these things that essentially make you feel good or make you feel alive. And when you're cutting that out, you're basically taking the little castle of blocks and knocking it over. But you have to stack them back up one at a time. All right, and you have to put something in its place so that I need to rethink that. There's a good analogy in there with the blocks. I'm gonna have to rethink that. But if you imagine like a totem pole, okay, the pornography at the bottom is served as part of the totem pole. You knock it out, you got to put something else at the bottom of the totem pole, otherwise the whole thing's gonna fall over, and you're gonna have this crash, and it's gonna suck. That's what happened to me. And that's what led to several relapses on my end, because I stopped looking at the stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm supposed to feel better. I knew that it was gonna be difficult, but I didn't know it was gonna be this hard. It's like I felt like nothing was pleasurable, nothing. And anything that I accomplished at work, in my personal life, just shit around the house, I didn't get any satisfaction, and I realized I hadn't really gotten that much satisfaction in a long time. But I had the porn to fall back onto. Now that I didn't have that to fall back onto, it was like, hey, by the way, your life kind of sucks, and you're not feeling any sort of victory in small things. So bringing it back together with the dopamine. Again, do your own research. I'm not really in a position where I can prescribe anything to people, and even if I was, I want you to just listen to what I'm saying, take it or leave it. But do your own research. Figure out what works for you. A lot of this is on a case by case. One thing that I was taking that helped out was ashwagandha. Ashwagandha. It's like a type of herb. It's an African one. I think it translates to like horse smell or something like that. And that is an adaptogen. And it basically just kind of helps balance you out. So, if you feel yourself being like more manic, depressive, you have your highs and your lows, or you're depressed, or you just don't have that much energy, ashwagandha can help. There's also 5-HTP. That one is, I forgot exactly what that one is, but I think that one goes more to the point of helping out with dopamine. But yeah, man, do your research. Figure out something that you can do that will help supplement that. For me, another one was video games. But then I found out there was a weird link between video games and pornography where I had to cut the video games out as well. And that's not really necessarily a good one, because you don't want to have like a habit where you're just playing video games and shit all your free time either. Exercising is good. Exercising is really good. But it's difficult to break into if you've never done it before and you're just coming off of a pornography addiction. That's why you want to do it incrementally, like I was talking about in the first video. 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. But if you have something that's fun to do, like maybe you like going to the arcade or something, or perhaps there's a show that you like to watch. You got to get something that you enjoy, and it's not gonna be as good as the pornography. It's not, because the way that you've structured your brain, that thing has gotten so much more attention. It's stronger. That's just it. It's stronger. Nothing's gonna really compare to it right now. Down the road, yes, it will, and you're gonna be looking at the pornography like, what the fuck was I doing? But right now, it's not gonna compare. So we gotta find things that will help keep you level out. So yeah, figure out a way to compensate for the loss of dopamine. Okay, that one's very important. Very important. Maybe at the end of the day, you reward yourself with your favorite snack, or something that you like to that end. And if you don't got a problem with the video games, then yeah, play some games or something. But you're gonna have to do something to kind of take your mind off of it. But just keep that thing regulated, because otherwise it's gonna be on E, and you're really gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it. another thing with dopamine is that it's not. It operates on novelty. So if you can engage in activity where you're constantly doing something new or experiencing something new, that would be good. Something like Pokemon Go, you strap up and go do that. I don't know if that people still do that, but it's new. It's like a new thing every time. The novelty is one of the biggest reasons. Is one of the real reasons that pornography is such a hard thing to get out of, because it gives you that. It gives you that every time. I mean, you look at these tube sites; they got thousands, tens of thousands of videos. If you just look at like the sissy categories alone, I don't know how many fucking different videos that I've seen. It's like at least like 200. And so it would be different if you're constantly looking at the same thing over and over again. Then you get kind of, it gets old. It gets old. But if you think about it, that's kind of what can lead you down to those darker corners of the pornography addiction, because things get old. There's only I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of different vanilla porn that you can look at, but more interesting is finding out different categories. And that's why it's kind of like that stair step down. It goes from like vanilla to three ways to big booties to big titties to gangbangs, and then next thing you know, you're looking at like cuckold and people getting slapped around and all types of crazy stuff. So yeah, the dopamine. Another thing that will help out is, and it sounds corny, but you really want to work on your positive thinking and the language that you choose to use. Okay, stay away from self-deprecating talk, even in jest. At least for now, while you're working through this, drop it. If you're at work and you drop some papers, oh, I'm so clumsy. Leave that. Okay. This one girl was in my class and she was always like, yeah, man, oh my god, I'm so stupid when it comes to tests. I always do bad. I'm just not smart. That's so bad for you. It's so bad for you because you create your reality. And your words create your reality. Words create worlds. But that's some other shit. Your words create your reality. So if you're constantly telling yourself that you're a loser, that you suck, that you're weak, that you're pathetic, it will, in a sense, have an effect on you. And it's not even one that you might necessarily be aware of, but it does have an effect on you. Okay? So yeah, drop the negative language when you're referring to yourself. Okay? And it can be hard, but it will be very important to do that. And while you're doing that, start being positive. Okay? Start being positive. Praise yourself for the things that you do get done. One of the biggest moments that I realized, and it seems small, when I was coming out of the pornography after I've been dealing with it for years, was that I remember doing the dishes and I felt good. I was like, yeah, I got the dishes done. I was like, wow, I don't really ever, it's usually just going through the motions, but I felt good that I got something accomplished. And that was kind of a keystone for me, because I was like, okay, cool, little tasks and stuff, I'm starting to get that dopamine high again. I'm starting to get that sense of accomplishment, that sense of success, where it's not like I hadn't been doing the dishes. I just wasn't feeling anything afterwards. So that was really good. So be on the lookout for that. And when it does happen, yeah, man, compliment yourself, big yourself up. Okay, I work with children with autism, and that's what we do. They do little things. You're like, oh, it's like their birthday party. Clap. Oh, that's fantastic. That's so good, because they get that rush. They get that attention. Oh yeah, I'm getting praise. Senpai noticed me, and that leads them to go and do it again. And if nobody else is around, then you gotta do it for yourself. Okay, then you gotta do it for yourself, so you can hear it. Everybody loves the sound of their own voice. Just fucking say it out loud. Yeah, great job, Kevin. You're so good. that will segue into the next thing that you can do on the mental tip, and that's mantras. Mantras kind of blend into the spiritual aspect of it, but mantras are very helpful, and that's the positive thinking. And mantras, you don't have to sit there in lotus position and just over and over again. But maybe every day, or every time you look in the mirror, or when you wake up, you say, "Hey, you know what, Greg? You're a great person. You're gonna have an amazing day. Whatever it is, keep going." Tell yourself something. Big yourself up. You are strong. I am strong. I am powerful. I am a supreme being. You look yourself in the eye. You say that, and you have to mean it. Maybe it's one of these things you fake it till you make it, but it works better if you mean it. And this will help, because again, just like the negative stuff will have an effect on you, the positive ones do too. Why do you think it's so many of these hypno videos, these hypno pornography videos, they had that stuff playing? Oh, hey, you're weak. You're an addict. You can't, because that shit works. They do it because it works. And if it works one way, it'll work the other way. It'll work the other way. If you want to get really advanced with it, you can record yourself. That's what I got. I got recordings on here. When I was trying to, do like the lucid dreaming and stuff, you can have recordings where you say something like, "I am powerful. I am strong. I have overcome." You always want to talk about something as if you've done it already. I have overcome. I have broken this addiction. Not I am going to. I have. And then have that on loop. And then you stretch the loop out. So you got an hour, 2 hours. You can put that on. Maybe you take a nap. Maybe you put it on while you're going to sleep. Maybe you do that shit while you're working out if you want to listen to music. That stuff works, and that's old, man. That's old. They got all types of stuff that they incorporate that with, but they do it for a reason, because it works. Okay, and you don't even necessarily need to believe that it works. A lot of the mental stuff is that you do these certain things, and whether or not they work or not, the placebo effect will start to kick in, and your subconscious will pick up on that. Excuse me. Your subconscious will pick up on that. And the 3 ways to train your subconscious, again, repetition, symbolism, and trauma. We're hitting the repetition right now. Okay? Mantras, very good idea. They can help you out. Another thing is finding out if you have any linked behaviors with your pornography use. If you're smoking, if you realize that you're smoking weed every time using pornography, you gotta stop smoking weed, man. Those routes, those pathways have been conjoined. So you might be smoking weed, and all of a sudden you realize you get horny. But it's not like, oh, I want to fuck my girlfriend or boyfriend horny. It's, I want to look at pornography horny. And that's how it was for me. I was like, this is so odd. And it didn't always start off that way. It's definitely something that I trained, because I used to smoke, and I always became more aroused when I was smoked, and that's just because the way that the cannabis, the nature of it, you get this excess of energy, of sexual energy, creative energy, which is sexual energy. Sex is creation. They're one and the same. So you get this excess of energy. If you don't use it, then it has to diffuse itself somehow. Now, if you smoke and you channel it and doing something creative, like now when I do smoke, I try and make one of these videos. I'm not right now, but you can definitely tell, like, I'm way more spaced out. But I try and do something constructive, something productive, so that I can make that new pathway where it used to be, okay, I'm gonna smoke, and then that means that I'm gonna be looking at porn. Now it's like I'm gonna smoke, and then boom, I'm gonna do something creative. And now they're conjoined. So now when I smoke, then all of a sudden it's like, all right, the light bulbs are popping, pop, 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 pop. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna make? What are we gonna write down? But until then, just like with the negative thinking, you gotta drop it. You gotta drop it. and it's hard. But that's why we go back to finding these alternatives. That's very important. Chickweed. Chickweed helps. Chickweed is a weed that you can make in tea, and if you have like an apothecary near you, or like some sort of Whole Food store, you might be able to find it there, or you just go on Amazon. That stuff helps with cravings. I got that to help with like sugar cravings when I was trying to get rid of, just, you know, cleanse myself. But it helped with cravings all around. Chickweed is really good. It's nasty. It tastes like grass, but it's good for you. Yeah, chickweed can help. Let's see. Yeah, what else might you link up with your like your porn use? If you always have some sort of music playing, which would seem odd to me, but if that's the case, then hey man, guess what? You gotta put those songs, put them out back for a little bit, pull them back out when you know that you're over the pornography. There's certain clothes, you know, if you like put some panties on or something, obviously you gotta stop doing that, because these things will just trigger you, and it's like it's like one of those pitcher plants that the ants fall into. You know, it's like they go over this little thing and they're slipping. It's a slow slide, but once they get over that little hump, they're going down into the bottom. And that's how it was for me. It would be like a point where I was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna be jerking off tonight, and it wouldn't be until like an hour and a half before I would start doing it. But I had like this whole ritual of things that I would do, and it all started with a thought. Basically, it all started with a thought, and I indulged it, and then it just kind of grew and grew and grew. We'll talk about that more when we go on to like the spiritual video. So yeah, you're going to want to just be aware of that. That's so important, because those things work on parallels, and it might not be that obvious that you need to check those things. Let me see. We also got. Oh yeah, have something that you're working towards. Getting out of this pornography addiction, this hole that you've gotten yourself into, is good. That's what you want to do, okay? But that's not a goal. That's not a goal in the sense of, it's like a reverse goal. We need a forward-thinking goal. So if you want to, you know, get a black belt or something, or maybe you want to summon the courage to the point where you can go up and approach a girl. You want to have something that you're working towards. This will help out a lot, because this will ground you, and it'll give you a direction. A lot of what pornography does is it erodes your willpower, and it erodes your ability to set goals for yourself, because you're constantly devoid of energy. You're constantly void of any sort of inertia. You know, it's like, the fuck am I gonna, you know, I can't go up and do stand up when I'm thinking about this, and even if I do, I know it's not gonna be the best, because I'm not at 100. I'm not at my peak. So yeah, have a goal that you're working towards, and I can't even begin to tell you what that should be. That's something that you need to figure out. Have a goal that you're working towards. My goal was, I wanted to have lucid dreams. I wanted to master that. So in order to have lucid dreams, I definitely had to get rid of the pornography addiction, because I was having dreams of like just porn stuff, man. I would have dreams where I'd be looking at porn, and like my family members or somebody would see me in the dream, and I'd be embarrassed and try to hide it. That's how much like shame I had, and how it was in my fucking dreams. I was dreaming about it. Interestingly enough, I could think 2 or 3 lucid dreams that I have had started out because while in the dream, I chose not to engage the option of looking at pornography. One specifically I remember is that I was in my bed and I rolled over. This is in the dream. I rolled over and there was a computer there, which I don't have a computer in my room. You shouldn't have any electronics in your room. I rolled over and I saw a computer there, and I looked at the computer, and it was just like this dude knows this dude and his dick. And I remember thinking in my dream, I was like grossed. I was like disgusted. I was like, not grossed out that it was a guy, but I was just disgusted. I was like, why is this porn on here? And so I got up and walked away. And as soon as I got up and walked away, I had one of the most amazing lucid dreams that I've ever had. Another one, there was this girl with this big old booty, and I chose to follow her. I chose to follow her. And later, I had the opportunity to become lucid, but I woke up right away. And I felt like because I chose to follow her, I didn't fully go into it. Anyways, that was my goal, was to develop lucid dreams. And I just, the porn was not conducive to doing that as well, at all. So it would help if you could have a goal where your porn use hinders you, because that will motivate you more to drop it. Yeah, let me see. What else in the mental tip? I can explain more on the pathways and the neural aspect of it, but I would just say watch Gary Wilson's Your Brain on Porn. He has a lecture, and if I can find the link to that, I will find the link to that, and I'll put that in there so you guys can check that out, because that will explain. It will just, there's no sense in me doing it. The dude, he's a master. Just watch his, and he will explain to you the physical workings of your brain and how everything syncs up there. But yeah, I think that's pretty good for now as far as things that you can do mentally. When you're setting mantras and you're talking to yourself, talk as though it's already happened. Okay? I am confident. Not I will become a confident person. I am a confident person. Because and you don't want to say, I will not look at pornography, or I will not give in to temptation, because your subconscious doesn't work with negatives. Instead of I will not give in to temptation, it should be, I have overcome temptation. I have overcome pornography. You see the difference? Your subconscious, the negative, and not negative like bad, it's like negative as in I won't do this, I have not. Like it just doesn't jive, it doesn't mesh. So find a way to supplement your dopamine loss that you're gonna have when dropping pornography. It will happen, and you're gonna go through periods where your dick might stop working. Like seriously, you just might not get aroused at all, and this will happen if you have a partner. Just be aware of that, and if you do have a partner, let them know what's going on. It makes things so much easier. One of the this is huge. If you are having sex, or if you are masturbating, and you start to have these thoughts that coincide with your pornography use, stop. Because that's where it starts. It starts with the thought, and you have to stop. And I'd go so far as to say, even if you're not looking at porn and you haven't looked at it for a while, but whenever you have sex or you're engaged in a sexual activity, you have to think about something porn related, or just something that you feel like this just doesn't jive with you, then you're not out of the hole yet. Okay? Because that's where it started for me. I started where I was thinking about, I sat down and I realized, like, man, every time, almost every woman that I've been with, no matter how fine she is, no matter how nice her pussy is, at some point, I shouldn't say every, but a vast majority, at some point, I would have to think about something outside of what was going on in order to become either to become aroused, maintain an erection, especially to come though, especially to ejaculate. I had to do that. This is, I mean, I've only ejaculated without having any thoughts like that probably less than 30 times in my life. That's not a lot. That's maybe like 20 to 30 times. That's the problem. It's a problem. That's not normal. That's not healthy. And even if you're just thinking about just like a porn star or somebody else, nah. Yeah. Excuse me. You don't want to be in that. You don't want to be in that position. You should be able to be with the person that you're with, or just stimulate yourself just with your own touch, and achieve an orgasm that way. So that one's difficult, and that's the one that I'm still struggling with. I'm still struggling with that. It's very hard, man. It's hard. These are we're fixing things that we've been like decades of work that you have to undo. Shit, maybe it's fucking 3 decades, depending on the person. So it's not gonna happen overnight. But just know that you can get out of this. You can, and you will. You will, because you have to. You have to. You don't really have a choice. It's just a matter of like how long you're gonna keep fucking around until you do it. No one is past redemption. It's just a matter of how much time you have to spend backtracking. And like I said, I'm in here with you. You know, there's still things that I'm not completely out of this yet. That's why making these videos and stuff is kind of therapeutic for me, because it just makes me like reaffirms, and I feel more steadfast on what it is that I'm doing. So yeah, again, we're gonna wrap it up for the mental steps that you can take. And if anyone has anything else to suggest or to add in, please leave a comment and let me know. Or if there's something that you feel that needs to be corrected, please let me know. I will look over everything. And to the people that have comment and stuff, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, I'm gonna keep them coming. I'm gonna do the spiritual one tomorrow, and might do one on Saturday depending on how things work out. But yeah, all right. Yeah, just remember, hey, remember who you are, and you can do this. It's not gonna be easy, but it will be definitely beneficial. All right.